Nobody wants to admit this, but loving a man deeply, truly, the kind where he never fully leaves your chest, that is not weakness. That is the most powerful thing one person can do to another. And right now, whether he acts like it or not, whether he texts you or goes quiet or pretends everything is normal, he is not okay. He is not just living his life unbothered while you sit here carrying him. Something is happening inside him, something uncomfortable, something he doesn't want to feel but can't turn off. And the thing that started all of it is the fact that you love him the way you do. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is just something people say to make you feel better, stop right there. Because what I'm about to tell you has nothing to do with making you feel good. It's about what's actually true. And the truth is this: most people think that when you love someone more than they love you back, you lose. You're the one hurt, you're the one up at night, you're the one with all the feelings and nowhere to put them. But that whole idea is wrong, completely wrong. Because love at that level, the kind that lives in your chest and doesn't leave, it doesn't just sit still inside you, it moves, it reaches him. And what it does when it gets there is exactly what nobody talks about. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say he lives in your heart. This isn't just thinking about someone, this is different. This is waking up in the morning, and before you even check your phone, before you even remember what day it is, he's already there, right there in your chest. Like he never left. Like he was there all night. You go through your whole day and you're fine on the outside. You're talking to people, doing your work, handling your life. But somewhere underneath all of that, he's there, always there. Like background music that never turns off. You hear something funny and your first thought is him. You go somewhere new and wonder what he'd think of it. You have a bad day and the only person you actually want to talk to is him. And the worst part isn't even that. The worst part is that you don't know what to do with all of it because it's just sitting there inside you with nowhere to go. And then the thoughts start, the ones that make you feel a little crazy. Does he even feel anything? Is he just fine while I'm over here like this? Am I too much? Am I the only one in this? And you try to talk yourself out of it. You tell yourself to calm down, to stop overthinking, to just let it go. But you can't let it go because it's not in your head. It's in your heart. And you can't think your way out of something that lives that deep. Let me tell you something right now. You are not too much. You are not crazy. And you are definitely not the only one feeling something here. Because when a man lives in your heart the way he lives in yours, it does something to him. Something real. Something that's already happening, whether he talks about it or not, whether he even understands it or not. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 things that are already happening inside him right now. Not guesses, not things that might be true. Things that are actually going on inside him because of the way you love him. And by the time we get to the end of this, you are going to see this whole situation completely differently. So stay with me, because what you're about to understand is going to change the way you see yourself in all of this. Let's get into it. He feels a kind of guilt he can't explain. Okay, so the first thing, when a man has a woman who loves him truly, deeply, the kind of love that lives in her chest and doesn't quit, something happens to him that he really wasn't expecting. He starts feeling guilty. And not guilty like he did something obviously wrong. Not that kind. This is quieter than that. This is this low, uncomfortable feeling that shows up when he's just living his normal life. When he's out with friends, having a good time, and suddenly he gets this weird feeling like he should be somewhere else or doing something different. When he's laughing at something and then for no clear reason, he just goes quiet for a second. When he's going to sleep at night and something just sits on his chest that he can't name, that's guilt. And it's connected to you. See, here's what happens. When someone loves you genuinely, not obsessively, not desperately, but truly, it creates this thing inside you, this awareness, this knowing that there's someone out there who cares about you in a real way. And if he's not showing up for that, if he's pulling back or being inconsistent or not giving you what you deserve, some part of him knows it. He might not say it out loud. He might not even sit down and think it through properly. But somewhere underneath all his reasons and his logic and his I'm just not ready and his I've got a lot going on right now, there is this quiet voice that keeps saying she loves you and you're not handling that right. And that voice doesn't go away just because he ignores it. So he carries it, this low-level guilt that pops up at the most random times. He might be doing something completely unrelated and just feel off, like something isn't right. Like there's something he should be doing or saying or fixing, but he just keeps putting it off. And the more he puts it off, the louder that feeling gets. It doesn't get easier to ignore over time. It actually gets harder, because every day that goes by where he's not doing right by you is another day that feeling builds up. And he feels that. He really does. This doesn't mean he's going to suddenly show up and make everything right. People don't always act on their guilt, especially when they're scared or confused or not ready to face something. But it does mean he is not sitting over there feeling nothing. He is not unbothered. He is carrying something. And a big part of that something is the weight of knowing that a real woman, a woman who genuinely loves him, is out there, and he hasn't handled that the way he should have. That's not comfortable to live with. Even if he acts like it is, he keeps coming back to you in his mind, even when he tries not to. Here's something that probably surprises people. When a woman loves a man from a real place, from her heart, he can't just mentally move on whenever he feels like it. He tries. He might even think he's succeeded for a little while, but then something pulls him right back. It's not something he controls, it just happens. And the reason it happens is because what you feel for him has created something in him that doesn't just disappear because it's inconvenient. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a song get stuck in your head that you didn't even like that much? You weren't trying to think about it, you didn't put it on, but it just kept coming back over and over. And the more you tried to stop thinking about it, the more it came back. That's kind of what's happening with him. Except it's not a song. It's you. It's the way you make him feel. It's something specific about you that he can't categorize or explain or put away neatly. He might be talking to someone else, and out of nowhere, he compares her to you. Not on purpose. Not because he sat down and decided to do that. It just happens. He'll notice something she does and think, she wouldn't do it like that. Or he'll be in a good conversation with someone and realize it doesn't feel as easy as it feels with you. He'll be somewhere new and think, she'd love this place. He'll hear something that reminds him of something you said once, something small, something you probably don't even remember saying, and it'll stop him for a second. You've become this thing in his mind that other people and other experiences keep bumping into. He can't have a full experience without you showing up somewhere in it, and that bothers him. Not because he doesn't care, but because he does, more than he's been willing to say. And every time you show up in his thoughts when he didn't invite you there, it forces him to ask himself something he's been trying to avoid. Why can't he let this go? Why does it keep coming back? What does that mean? And those questions don't have easy answers, so he just sits with them, uncomfortable and unsure, but thinking about you, always coming back to you. Something in him is scared of losing you for. Okay? And this one is important. This one is something most people don't talk about because it doesn't fit the story we tell about men who pull back or men who don't show up the way they should. The story we usually tell is that those men don't care, that they're fine, that they've moved on and feel nothing. But here's the truth that story leaves out. A man who has a woman who genuinely loves him, who carries him in her heart, is scared, really scared, even if he doesn't act like it. Even if everything he does seems to say the opposite. Because here's what happens inside him. He knows what he has, even when he's acting like he doesn't. Even when he's being inconsistent or distant or difficult. Some part of him, a part he probably doesn't talk to anyone about, knows that what you feel for him is real. And real love is rare. He's felt enough fake things and surface things and convenient things to know the difference. He knows this is different. And knowing that something is real and rare and right in front of you, and also knowing you might be messing it up, that is terrifying, even for a man who will never say that out loud. So what does that fear look like from the outside? It looks confusing. It looks like hot and cold. It looks like him pulling you close and then pulling back. It looks like him reaching out and then going quiet. It looks like him saying things that sound like he cares, but then not following through. And all of that inconsistency, all of that back and forth that drives you absolutely crazy, a lot of it is coming from this fear sitting underneath everything. The fear of losing you. The fear of what it would mean if you finally decided you were done. The fear of that moment when he realizes you're actually gone and it's actually too late. He might not be ready to admit that fear to you. He might not even be ready to admit it to himself. But it's there. It's driving a lot of what he does, even when what he does doesn't make any sense to you. And the next time his behavior confuses you, Before you decide it means he doesn't care, consider that it might mean the exact opposite. That he cares so much it scares him. And scared people don't always do the right thing. They don't always show up clean and clear and consistent. Sometimes scared people make a mess. And that mess looks a whole lot like what you've probably been trying to figure out. He's questioning himself in ways he never did before. This one might be the one he'd least want you to know about. When a man is loved by a woman the way you love him, it holds up a mirror. And what he sees in that mirror isn't always comfortable. Because real love, the kind that comes from someone's heart, the kind that doesn't have conditions or games or hidden motives, that kind of love shows a man exactly who he is. And if who he is right now doesn't match the man he knows he should be, that's a hard thing to sit with. So he starts questioning himself, and not in a quick, easy way, in a deep, uncomfortable, keeps coming back way. He asks himself things like, am I actually ready for something this real? Am I being the man I should be here? Why do I keep pulling back when I know she's genuine? What is wrong with me? And those questions are not small. Those questions shake something in a person because they point directly at the parts of himself he's been avoiding. The parts that aren't healed yet, the parts that are still scared, the parts that want to be loved but don't fully believe they deserve it or can handle it. And here's the thing about a man who is genuinely questioning himself. He gets quiet. Not cold, not distant in the way that means he doesn't care, but quiet in the way that means something is happening underneath that he doesn't know how to put into words yet. He might pull back from you not because you did anything wrong, but because being around you or even thinking about you brings up all these questions he doesn't have answers to. You become the person who, without even trying, makes him face himself. And that's both a gift and something really uncomfortable to receive. He might talk to a friend about it, not in a deep emotional way. Men usually don't do that, but he might bring you up. He might say something like, I don't know what's going on with me, or I think I messed something up, without fully explaining what he means. Because he doesn't fully know what he means yet. He's still in the middle of figuring it out. And all of that figuring out, all of that questioning, all of that uncomfortable self-examination he's doing, you started that. Your love started that. Not by doing anything dramatic, just by being real with him in a world where most things aren't. He's starting to realize what life looks like without you, and he doesn't like it. And this is the last one. This is the one that happens slowly and then all at once. When a man has spent time with a woman who loves him from her heart, really loves him, and then that presence starts to fade, or he pulls back far enough that he starts to feel the gap, something shifts. He starts to feel what life actually feels like without you in it. Not in a dramatic movie way, in a quiet, everyday way, in the small moments where you used to be and now you're not. He'll have a good day and want to tell someone about it and realize you're the person he wants to tell. He'll go somewhere you talked about going together and feel something he wasn't expecting to feel. He'll have a hard day and get through it fine on the outside, but feel this low emptiness somewhere underneath that he can't fill with anything else. He'll be around people, good people, people who care about him, and still feel like something is missing. And the something that's missing has your name on it. This is when it stops being abstract for him. This is when it stops being something he can think his way around or distract himself from. Because it's not in his head anymore. He can feel it in his actual daily life, in actual moments, in actual empty spaces where you used to be. And that feeling is one of the most clarifying things a person can experience. Because you don't really know what something means to you until you feel what it's like without it. And when he feels that, when he really feels it, something in him wakes up. He starts seeing everything differently. He starts remembering not just the good moments with you, but the feeling of those moments. The way things felt easier. The way he felt more like himself. The way he could say things to you he couldn't say to anyone else. The way you made ordinary things feel worth paying attention to. All of that starts coming back to him. And it doesn't come back small. It comes back loud. And he has to decide what he's going to do with that. He might not act on it right away. Fear is still there. Old habits are still there. All the reasons he told himself to pull back are still floating around in his head somewhere. But something has changed. The question is no longer, do I have feelings for her? He already knows the answer to that. The question becomes, What am I going to do about it? And that's a very different place to be. So what does all of this mean for you? Now you know. When a man lives in your heart the way he lives in yours, he is not sitting peacefully on the other side of things. He's carrying guilt he can't explain. He keeps coming back to you in his mind even when he tries not to. He's scared of losing you even if he acts like he isn't. He's questioning himself in ways that go deep, and he's starting to feel what life without you actually feels like. All of that is happening inside him right now, not because of something you did wrong, because of something you did right. You loved him for real. And real love doesn't just disappear into the air. It lands. It does something. It moves things inside people, whether they're ready for it or not. But here's what you need to understand. Knowing all of this doesn't mean you wait around forever. It doesn't mean you put your life on hold hoping he figures himself out. It doesn't mean you keep carrying him in your heart while he keeps playing it safe. Because here's the honest truth. Some men feel all of these things and still don't do anything about it. Not because the feelings aren't real, but because they're not ready, or they're too scared, or they haven't hit the moment yet where the cost of staying stuck finally feels greater than the risk of showing up. And you cannot wait for that moment indefinitely. You have a life, you have worth, and that worth doesn't go up the longer you wait for someone to see it. So here's what you actually do with all of this. First, stop punishing yourself for how deep you feel. The fact that he lives in your heart isn't a flaw. It's not a problem to fix. It's not you being too emotional or too available or too anything. It is just you loving someone the way real love is supposed to feel. That is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to protect. And protecting it means not spending it endlessly on someone who isn't ready to receive it properly. Second, trust what you feel, but don't let it make your decisions for you. Your feelings are real. They're telling you something true. But feelings don't have a timeline, and they don't always lead you where you need to go on their own. You have to use what you know alongside what you feel. And what you know is that you deserve someone who chooses you clearly, not someone who makes you wonder, not someone who makes you work this hard just to understand where you stand. Third, keep living your life fully, not as a strategy, not to make him notice, but because your life is worth living fully. Because the version of you that is out in the world, growing, doing things, showing up for herself, that version of you is not only better for you, she is the version he's going to feel the loss of most clearly. You don't become more magnetic by shrinking yourself down to fit into the uncertain space he's left you in. You become more magnetic by expanding, by taking up space, by being fully, completely yourself. And fourth, give it a real honest deadline in your own heart. Not a dramatic ultimatum you announce out loud, just an honest conversation you have with yourself. How long are you willing to carry this before you need something to shift? What would it actually look like for things to move in the right direction? What would be enough to show you this is going somewhere real? Answer those questions honestly. Write them down if you have to, because knowing your own answer is how you stop living in the in-between forever. Here's the last thing I want you to really hear. The way you love him is not the problem. It was never the problem. The way you love is actually rare. Most people love with one foot out the door. Most people love with conditions and backup plans and walls up just in case, but you loved him from your heart all the way. And that is really something. And whether he steps up or whether he doesn't, whether this becomes the story you hoped it would be or whether it takes a different shape, you are not going to come out of this less than you went in. You're going to come out of it knowing yourself better, knowing what you feel, knowing what you're capable of, knowing that you loved someone real and you did it with everything you had. That is not a loss. That is evidence of who you are. So stop seeing your feelings as the thing that makes you weak in this. Start seeing them as the thing that makes you powerful. Because right now, in this moment, while you're sitting here wondering if any of this matters, he is somewhere feeling things he can't explain, feeling guilt he can't name, thinking about you when he's trying not to, scared in a way he won't say out loud, questioning himself in the quiet, feeling the empty space where you belong. All of that is happening because of you, because of how real you are, because of how deeply you loved him.